Hello there, my Gemini Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your Twin Flame reading for January 2020. Happy New Year. But it's also timeless, so whenever you run across it, whenever you come across it, is when you're supposed to watch it, as I find most readings on YouTube are. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and actually very happy to be doing this work for you. I had a lovely holiday season, glad to be back to work and not be on a holiday schedule, right? Nothing like a Virgo, I'm a Virgo, getting back to their routine. A couple of things before I start with the reading, just a little preamble. You can skip ahead if you know all this stuff already. This is a general read, right? So please check your other signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, as it may be, that not every reading is going to resonate with everybody. This is a twin flame read, but apparently very different from what else is on YouTube. So there are video links in the description box below. 3 actually pertaining, because I'm a Virgo, I'm going to get you some information to play with, my Gemini brothers and sisters. One from KAHN, spiritual teacher from the West Coast, Hay House author, that he did called Soul Contracts, Redefining Twin Flames and Soulmates. Highly recommend it. Do check it out. It's what snapped me around, because I never really liked the term soulmate, right? It got so overused in the 90s and in the OOs, right? And then twin flame, like, it's got both ancient roots and a contemporary definition, and it feels a little codependent-y to me, right? My other half, my twin, right? No. And that's not every, certainly, definition out there. The definition that I'm working with is in alignment with KAHN, and I have my own video down there clarifying twin flame, soulmates, and true lovers, as well as one clarifying these readings for 2020, the twin flame readings, that it is a soul contract like a soulmate, all right? It's definitely a soul contract, a pre-incarnational agreement with someone probably that you have incarnated with time and time again, soul-wise. But the foundation of the contracts are very different, soulmate and twin flame. Soulmate contracts, the bottom line is you help each other heal, right? You can give each other what you want. Not so much with the twin flames. The twin flames, the bottom line of the contract is you teach each other how to heal yourselves, how to love yourselves, how to respect yourselves, usually by being tumultuous, turbulent, tricky, right? Triggery, transformative, that's for damn sure. They are certainly the crucibles that hold us in the fires of transformation in all forms of relationship, not just romantic sexual. Same with soulmates, not always romantic sexual, but that doesn't mean we can't have, you know, soulmates and twin flames of every variety. My mother is my soulmate. My father was my twin flame. He has crossed over since I was a teenager. So you see what I'm saying? All different layers. So if this does not appeal to you, I appreciate that. Everybody gets to define what they want to define, but I think you might find some merit in the readings, because it's going to show you how to heal yourself in a particular relationship in your life where perhaps you are struggling with the other person, whether it's family member, lover, coworker, you name it, right? That being said, in order to identify two parties of a contract, I'm using divine masculine, divine feminine. Has nothing to do with bodily gender, nothing to do with Y chromosome or lack thereof, just simply a way of saying this dynamic and this dynamic. Person number 1, person number 2, and I myself consider myself a divine feminine, and yet put me with different people, and the alchemy shifts, right? The chemistry changes, and then I'm more divine masculine, because we're all fluid that way. Really, I think that's why the Eastern philosophies have it better with yin and yang. It's not so much about body parts and gender, right? Cool, cool. What else? Oh yeah, all the decks that I read are always in the description box below, along with those cool other reads. I do try and curate a good description box for my subscribers, and just for my viewers in general, to give them information. I am a spiritual teacher first and foremost, but I've been reading cards since I'm 12 years old. I have not been spiritual counseling and teaching classes and workshops since I am 12. Although I was a student teacher. Not a big shot. Alrighty, I think that's about it, except to breathe. Please remember, my air signs, breathe. We're going to anyway, but when we're conscious about it, when we remind ourselves, it brings us right into the present moment. It is the cheapest, most ancient form of meditation you're ever going to find. Makes you a little bit more mindful. And just the energetic properties of breathing in the same prana, chi, life force, guidance, grace, whatever you want to call it, that everyone else is. But in this moment, as I'm doing it, and you're listening to my voice, there's energy coming through that way. You're breathing, you're tuning. So you're tuning to the same source from which the information, the chi, the prana, whatever you want to call it, is coming from. So you breathe it in as blessings, and you breathe it out as blessings, right? And just think if you did that consciously with every single breath, that might make you a little cuckoo. But you know what I mean? Like while you're driving, waiting in line, to breathe a little bit deeper and to bless a little bit deeper. Cool, cool. I think we're ready. Let's get down to biz. Nice deep breath. Oh, here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, Caroline Mace archetype card. What is the dominant archetype? The dominant soul power for the divine feminine in this Gemini collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign. Twin flame contract, January 2020, face down. And timeless. They know that. They know that before I hit record. Same thing, please, for the divine masculine in this Gemini collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, twin flame contract, January 2020, timeless. Okay, pretty painless so far. Here are the two dominant soul forces, soul powers to be alchemized. In other words, this relationship, this twin flame contract, is about helping each of these people individually alchemize the lead to gold, bring the shadow to light. All right, spiritual transformation, here we go. Who we got here? We've got the prostitute archetype. Don't freak, divine feminine. Everybody has the prostitute archetype. It's one of the 4 survival family archetypes. There are only 4. All the other families got a whole bunch. Survival family has 4. The child, because we were all a child. The victim, victimizer, victor, as in victory. All 3 of those in one archetype, because it teaches us how we survive, how we overcome things. The saboteur, how we make decisions of empowerment or disempowerment for ourselves or others. Tricky one, obviously. And the prostitute archetype, which has very little to do with sexuality at the end of the day. So much it's about how you negotiate away the power of your spirit for comfort, right? It's like you're in a situation that's really toxic, but the house is nice, so you stay, you know what I mean? So we all, that's how we learn how to survive in this world. And so to me, the golden side of the prostitute, because the prostitute obviously is the name for the shadow side of the archetype. I call her the golden prostitute, or the hooker with a heart of gold, and I would. So it's a wonderful, I love my prostitute archetype, interestingly enough, connected to Hermes, who I am who sits in the throne of Gemini. Just saying. It's also why I laughed. But now the divine masculine is the witch archetype, and this is a blank card that she gave us, Caroline Mace, in the deck. And there wasn't a witch card, so I made one, and I know the shadow and the light of a witch of being one, but also symbolically, not just as being a witch, whether you identify as one or not. The prostitute and the witch is going to be a really neat title for YouTube. Shall we? We're going to look at the shadow and the light of both. For the divine feminine, prostitute, shadow aspect, places material considerations and security above self-empowerment, right? So instead of empowering yourself, you put ahead of you, well, but the house. Like, people stay in relationships, twin flame relationships in particular, that have their expiration date was years ago, and I'm guilty of that myself. That's how we learn. You don't beat yourself up for that, you just deal. Even I was really, really sure that I was in a soulmate relationship, and then I really saw it in a different way after some, let's just say, neglectful patterns were unveiled in the other, and I was like, you know what? This is neglectful. This is a twin flame relationship. Broke my heart to do it. But then again, there are those relationships that start off as twin flames, and then over time, somehow it has to be written that way before you come in, become soulmates. So this dude could come back again into my life, and that is romantic sexual, and that's why Vafunkel, who cares, right? Next, right? Let's keep moving. So that prostitute about saying, okay, well, yes, the company's nice, but it's like, take a look at your butt, right? Because that brings us into the light attribute. Accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating away the power of your spirit. And my God, day to day, that's a challenge for most of us. And to not compromise the integrity of who you are is really what that is. negotiating it away for power, for safety, for security. It's tricky shit. But we all do that. And certainly in relationships we do that. So have a look at that if you are the Divine Feminine or the Cross-Watcher. Because the Divine Masculine Witch, which I can relate to, I am a male witch. To me, witch is gender neutral. It should be, just like Protestant or, Christian, Muslim, Jew. It's just another name for another path, right? Another walker on a path, whatever participant, celebrant, whatever you want to call it. Words. Gemini, have fun with that, right? But the witch archetype in its shadow, we know. We know. One who uses their power in ways that they don't want anyone to know about. That's what shadow means anyway. It doesn't matter what archetype you're talking about. How do you know it's in the shadow? Well, you don't want anybody to know about it. What if it was exposed on social media, right? Or broadcast across the internet, right? It's like, no, right? That's how you know. So that they're using their wisdom. Now, wisdom comes from experience. So something that they've lived through, something that they've learned, taking that and working it against themselves or someone else. And people would say, oh, that must be hexing. Well, I've learned that there is a very fine line between hexing and blessing, between banishing and blessing in particular, that it's really all about your point of view, right? So it may not be so much about behavior necessarily with a witch, but how they use their own wisdom, what they've learned deep in their gut, in their boots, in their bones, in their blood, in ways that are not helpful, in fact harmful. Now that's not to say that every witch adheres to the Wiccan rede, and ye harm none, do what ye will. Oh, I know plenty who don't. And that's fine, to each their own. We're all on our own highly individualized curriculum. Now put this in terms of a person who's not identified as a witch, someone who has learned, who has wisdom, who has stuff under their belt, but is using that power, channeling that power in a way that either they don't want anybody to know about, shadow, and now this is in the shadow, we'll get to the light, or it is just doing it in a way that is harmful, that's not helpful. Remember, at the end of the day, the word witch is job title. I guess like shaman, and a lot of people conflate witchcraft and shamanism. I get it. That's a theological as well as a metaphysical as well as a spiritual conversation. But for me, I do not want to appropriate the word shaman for myself because I'm a white guy, right? Well, Sicilian, Irish, German. So just culturally, witch is enough for me. Gender neutral. The light side is one who uses their wisdom like a job title in service to oneself, right? In service to the betterment of life. There are so many different types of witches that way. Ones who work specifically with nature or with animals or with certain elements, or Reiki witches, and I'm a potion witch. So imagine now that archetype in someone not identified as a witch, a divine masculine, who through their wisdom serves, garners wisdom. But I also have to say, with the witch archetype, there is a connection to nature. Yes, that might not be true of every witch everywhere, but definitely it's about the immanent world. Something also about the divine feminine there in general, right? It's a tricky, sticky word sociopolitically within the pagan community, let alone the witch community, let alone in the global. But you get the piece of humor. I've been teaching witchcraft for way over 20 years. I could go on that forever. So you got the vibe? Let's take a deep breath and get us 3 cards from the Daughters of the Moon Tarot for the Divine Feminine, past, present, future, and 3 cards from the Mythic Tarot, Juliet Sharman Burke. Simple timelines, past, present, future, 3 for each, past, present, future, past, present, future. We're going to get them all out at once, and then I will read them face down. Here we go. Breathe. Breathe with me, Gemini. Give me your psychic powers. Tune in, my darlings. Here we go. My goddesses, please. 3 cards. Past, present, future. A simple timeline for this divine feminine prostitute archetype in this Gemini collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, signed twin flame contract January 2020. That's where she's been. Where is she now? Where is she going? Remember, I'm just saying he and she because it's masculine, feminine. Please flip it as needed. Just moving that to the side. Let's get from my gods. Hermes. hear my plea and bless my sight with clarity for the well-being of all, harm to none. As I will it, so let it be done. Please, my gods, 3 cards, past, present, future, for this Gemini, for this divine masculine witch archetype in this Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, I'm Twin Flame contract, January 2020. The past, where is he now? The present, where is he headed? The future. Let's have a look. The divine feminine prostitute archetype. Well, Scorpio, right? So maybe there's a Scorpio energy person involved here in the past. However, I'm really being drawn towards the 8th house significance of Hecate, a goddess of the crossroads, a decision made, because crossroads aren't just choices, they are usually life decisions, but something deep, something that needed to be ruminated on, contemplated on, about power, and make sense with the prostitute archetype, because Scorpio is money, sex, power, and other people's resources. Very, very second chakra. So, in fact, well, Scorpio rules the genitalia, right? So there you have it. So again, not even necessarily sexual, but if this is a sexual twin flamer here, which a lot of them are, and see, that's the thing. That's what keeps you interested. If they are sexual, they're so good. It's because that's sometimes the only thing, right? You hanging in there, but the rest of it is just so hard, right? Tricky, tricky, tricky. No pun intended there if you didn't hear it. Nothing. So the Scorpio card, that makes sense in the past considering the prostitute archetype. Where is she now? Ooh, deception, 4 of blades. I know it looks like the 2 of blades from the Rider-Waite, but there are 2 under her seat that you gotta look for. She don't know is there. Now this can be self-deception. Absolutely can be self-deception. And with the prostitute archetype, the things we tell ourselves, right? It is an air card. It is mental. So it is usually about mental illusions and deceptions, not tuning to the gut, because the gut is usually screaming something's off, something's wrong, something's off, something's wrong. And you know, that child in your heart can even be saying, this hurts, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to, but don't leave, but we got to get away, but you know, both sides of it telling you something's off. So this is all up in the mind, the stories we tell ourselves, right? The rationalizations that we make, and by the way, we all do, particularly in relationships, and particularly if there's sex and money involved, just how it is. Let's be real. And where is she in the future? The card of the Lovers. Now look, this does not necessarily mean happily ever after. This is about what? A decision. The Lovers card is always about a life-changing decision. Yes, falling in love, falling in love, getting married, being in true love. Yes, those are all decisions, although I don't know that true love is such the decision. I think it more happens to you, right? Like a plague just sort of descends upon your life, pre-incarnationally contracted, of course, path of true love. But a decision, a life-changing decision, having to align head and heart, right? Having to bring together, if the head is saying yes and the heart is saying no, what is the choice, the decision that you make? Well, that choice, that decision, if it's controlled by the prostitute archetype in its shadow, you will suffer. Everyone will. It's a survival archetype. It's like cutting off life force to certain parts of your, I would say your body, but certainly that stuff can manifest physically in terms of life lessons. So a decision has to be made. Now, coming from that place of deception, that's not great. This has got to be looked at. This has to be looked at. So it feels like perhaps a decision has been contemplated, but that there are some things to look at. Deception being involved, by the way, if it's not self-deception, could be the divine masculine witch pulling a tricky too, right? But a little trickster archetype. We're going to see what's going on there. So it could be deceived. And that worries me. I'm going to say, like, to make a decision based on a deception, either a self-deception or from the external world. Now, look, there are lessons to all of us being deceived, mind you. to trust ourselves, to trust our gut. And, you know, in terms of the quantum path of it all and destiny and stuff, everything that happens to make us better on a soul level. I know the personality doesn't have to like that. That kind of sucks. We all fall for it sooner or later, and we all play the other side. We've all been deceived, and we all deceive. It's just part of the human play of it all. But to get that there is something in here, should you be deceived, it's the worst thing that ever happened to you, but gives you the greatest gift of opportunity to heal that you've ever had. It's just how that rolls. That's why everything in this world is neutral, yin and yang, light and dark. So be careful, Divine Feminine. Be very, very careful that you are not, what? Negotiating the power of your spirit. Money, sex, and power can do that, though, girl, I know. Let's have a look at this Divine Masculine Witch, though. What about him, though? Okay, Three of Pentacles. One of my favorite cards in the Daughters of the Moon. Here, we definitely have this thing of, like, kind of getting down to business, getting the solid foundation down. It's like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, right? All three of these men just sort of saying, yes, we want you to do the work. We've seen what you have done. It's not a completion, right? It's a 3, but a nice stable foundation, and here's what you need to do it. So, you know, I like the 3s. I mean, sometimes, yes, they can refer to third-party situations, but that's in the past of this twin flame relationship, I'm feeling it as a sort of material stability, like the 3 of Cups, but in material form, right? So it feels good. Like there's something strong, solid there. What's going on in the present moment? Well, 7 of Cups. Now, this is Aphrodite appearing. I love the Suit of Cups here. It's the myth of Eros and Psyche. If you read the myth, this will make a bit of difference. This is before Aphrodite sends Psyche down into the underworld to retrieve a pot of beauty cream, which I think is a pretty fucking hot errand, if you ask me. Her version of rapid wrinkle repair for the divine. And before she has to go into the underworld, this is where, you know, she's pleading. She's like, please let me marry. Please let me be with your son. Please. They're already married, by the way. It's a long story. It's Greek myth. Of course, it's a long story. It's a myth. Oh, yes. That there are options. There are things that she's like asking for options, and that's like, you can do this, or you can go back and live your own life, or you can do these tasks that I set out for you, because it's not just going into the underworld that she has to do. There's a bunch of shit she got to do. Just like a goddess would, you know, marrying off her son, although technically they're already married. It's a tricky, tricky myth. So that's what I'm finding. Like, there's complications here, complicated emotions, different options, different, you know, and if does this feel like a Gemini thing? Because it feels like a Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign thing to me. So really, either side of y'all could be. There's personal markers for me for either one of these being Gemini. So let's look. Where is he headed? Where is he headed? Into the Ace of Cups. So either a new lover or a new lover, a new opportunity, a new opening of their own heart. Now, again, I mention it only when it comes up in the cards. I do mention it in the videos explaining twin flames, true loves, all of that stuff. Even Matt Kahn talks about it. That's what I was like, I thought so. I had a feeling. When I heard that, I was like, oh, then if that's your definition, because those are tricky as fuck, because you don't know which one you're in when a twin flame alchemizes into a soulmate, right? Yeah, so this feels like this could be that, particularly because she got the lovers there. I don't know. Now, that would certainly, I would think, be distant future anyway. But definitely there's a choice to acknowledge that there is love here. Like, just because a twin flame contract is in play doesn't mean there isn't love there. We are all one at the core, right? So even if it could just be dialed up to agape, right? Like unconditional love, we are all one, God love, spirit love, then both, if they can do that, become true love anyway, whether or not they're true love partners with each other romantically, sexually. But what if they're like parent-child, right? That's the thing. I don't want to like nail this down purely into romance, although we have other cards that are going to hit the table that could like, like all of a sudden throwing KAHN and something just change the whole, you know, chemistry of the thing. So let's do that. Let's do that right now. We're going to take 2 cards from the new deck on the block, the Healing mantra deck by KAHN. Yes, who also did the videos. Really check out his YouTube channel. It's so good. I swear to God, he's so good. I've never met him. I'm not getting any kickbacks or anything from him. He probably doesn't know I exist. I mean, come on, I'm a purple-haired gay witch from New York. Probably not. But I am a spiritual teacher, and when I find shit that works, I share it. Like, I don't have to reinvent the wheel every day. It's enough that I am the potty mouth of the divine world, right? I'm sure there are worse. Not many as cute and funny, though, right? So these mantras are great. Doesn't matter which side you're on, right? Divine masculine, divine feminine, both mantras will help you. The one that lands for you, whether you're divine masculine or divine feminine, will be for your own healing. The other, certainly to understand what the other one is going through, but if you do it as well, you are assisting in healing yourself about them. So one for healing you, one for healing you with whatever's going on with them. You feeling me? Take a nice deep breath. The Ascended Masters, Matt and the Masters, please, one card in clarity for this Divine Feminine Prostitute archetype. In this Gemini Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, Twin Flame contract, please, what is her healing mantra? Not gonna look, even though it doesn't really have a face up, face down. So please, the same for the Divine Masculine Witch in this Gemini Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, Twin Flame contract, all for January 2020 or timeless. Here we go. That felt good. That felt good. And you see, I always try and do it with my eyes closed. Now, these cards, one side has the name of the mantra, the other the mantra itself, and then this lovely little booklet where Matt gives us a couple of tidbits, but are extremely insightful. Otherwise, I wouldn't include them. Okay, so the Divine Feminine has welcoming surrender. Welcoming surrender. And the mantra is, there is no problem, only destiny being revealed. That's ballsy. Do you know what I mean? That's courage. That's welcoming surrender. There is no problem, only destiny being revealed. All right, so there isn't a problem. This isn't a problem. Oh, it's a twin flame? That isn't a problem. Well, if this story ain't over, then it's just destiny being revealed. Who's mine? Let's heal. That's active surrender, welcoming surrender. That's kick-ass. Definitely reading that from the book. Well, I was going to read it anyway. Oh, opened right to it. Excuse me. I really need my drag fans now that I repositioned everything. Do you like it, by the way? I changed. I just turned it a little bit. I wanted you to see my new haircut. You can't see it against the brown. Also, it's now magnetic north. My mom gave me a compass for gorgeous. It's got a Thoreau quote on it. Made me cry. So now this is totally north. You were looking at me. I am sitting in magnetic north. Welcoming surrender. There is no problem, only destiny being revealed. When surrender is welcomed, you are open to viewing life as the playground of the soul's evolution. You are no longer worrying about what to do or where to go. Instead, you are following the gentle, peaceful flow of inner guidance. In surrender, every personal conflict is handed over to Source so as not to distract from the prime objective of evolving your consciousness with the utmost sincerity, love, and compassion to all. It's saying, all right, well, this is what I got to do. I'm going to surrender this. I'm going to let the divine provide and show me what to do in each situation. All I have to do is constantly hand it over. So it's what's called an active surrender. It's not just, okay, whatever. No. It's like, all right, do it through me. Let's live life. Let's surrender. Then really there's a safety in that, because you know at some point with practice, obviously, that anything that comes for you is there to make you better. And you might not see how that makes you better, but you understand all of that, right? So it's like, all right, okay, let's do this, right? If this is going to transform me, then I'm down with it. This mantra is ideal for eliminating resistance, dealing with anger, and easing an overthinking mind. Oh, ooh, Matt KAHN. So we want to do that every single time. I don't. Give me some credit. All right, so for the Divine Masculine, invoking self-realization. Got this one last night, and I pulled a couple of them throughout the day. Each breath confirms how awake I already am. That's the mantra itself. Invoking self-realization. Each breath confirms how awake I already am. And obviously it's not just about awake as opposed to, nocturnally asleep, but how present, how conscious, right? Conscious. How conscious your consciousness is. So Southern California, I almost hurt my teeth. Invoking self-realization. Illuminating the truth, inspiring others, invoking self-realization. Each breath confirms how awake I already am. Self-realization is a spontaneous remembrance of your interconnection to all that is. You are willing to embrace your individuality as a unique expression of Source in physical form. By aligning with the breath, you see that while you appear to be a person, it is the universe that breathes everything into existence. This mantra is ideal for reducing stress, managing pain, and relaxing the nervous system. Yeah, emotional pain and physical pain. So it really is working with the breath. So something as simple as each breath confirms how awake I already am. Not saying it like an affirmation, but being aware. Each breath I take confirms how awake I already am. Right, bringing you into the present moment, bringing you into what? Spontaneous remembrance of your interconnection to all that is, which is Source, which is divine. It's about spiritual awakening. It's pretty fucking cool. For the witch, and particularly with this Seven of Pentacles and the options and the thing, it's like, you know what option I always have? Breathe. It's so important, breath. I mean, duh, we can't go about 2 minutes without it unless, you've trained yourself for that kind of shit. I'm talking the rest of us. Like Festivus. All right, 3 more cards and we're done. Well, I'll give you the overview, then we're done. We're going to do Whispers of Love, Oracle, love them so much. The voices of the higher selves of all involved. 1 for the Divine Feminine, 1 for the Divine Masculine, and 1 for the Twin Flame contract overall. Cool. Nice deep breath. It's almost like I want to say to you, the deeper you breathe, the more powerful it's going to be, but I don't know what's going to happen. Breathe. Oh, I love my Geminis. The higher selves of all involved. Please, 1 card for the Divine Feminine in this Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising Venus sign, Twin Flame contract, January 2020, and Timeless. Please, 1 for the Divine Masculine in this Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising Venus sign, Twin Flame contract, this Divine Masculine Witch. Please, January 2020, and Timeless. And 1 for the contract itself. This Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising Venus sign, Twin Flame contract for January 2020 and Timeless, please. Last card on the table. The Divine Feminine Prostitute, her higher self be saying, be in the present and dream of the future. When we dream, everything is possible, hence welcoming surrender. There is no problem, only destiny being revealed. Now, the thing about dream of the future is very tricky when the card on the table is deception. So there is a bit of spiritual badassery here in the thing of saying, well, then you know what? If I don't know what's going to happen, I am going to dream the best dream. I'm going to provide the narrative for this, but I am going to do it in the best fucking feeling way that I can, the most loving way that I can, and hopefully in the healthiest way I can, even if that is, there's no problem, only destiny being revealed, and it's all going to work out somehow. Keep it general, right? And I'm going to Abraham Hicks this, let the grid fill in, right? Let it fill in. Let the universe bring you everything that you need on this, because to make a decision otherwise, it's sort of like saying thy will be done, but saying I'm going to be here now, right? I'm going to be sane. I'm going to stay focused, but I'm going to welcome the surrender that this is a path, and if I really just keep to the truth as much as I can, that somehow this is all going to work out and somehow this is blessing me, And it's true, sometimes we don't see that until years later, right? You break up with somebody and then you meet somebody maybe 2 or 3 later. Sometimes you know how it goes. I know not everybody's a integral slut like I am. But you do look back and you go, oh wow, I needed each one of those, particularly that one. Wow. So now I know how to do this, right? It's just true. All right, so for the Divine Masculine, the Witch, embrace your emotions. Don't push down your feelings or judge your emotions. And I think, considering we got the 7 of Cups and the Ace of Cups here, each breath confirms how awake I already am. I would really recommend that for this Divine Masculine Witch, to feel it and let the emotion itself be fulfilling, because there is such a thing, indirect manifestation, where you just really choose the feelings and you let the universe. What happens really is that when you visualize something, and this is for the Divine Feminine too, it's for everybody, you visualize something and you're just doing it for the emotional feeling of it, it sort of does tell the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind tells, there's a communication between the subconscious mind and the soul saying, more opportunities to feel this, please. So yeah, when you visualize and attach to an outcome, that's why there's always that glitch in a spell, in a visualization, in a meditation, setting forth an intention. That's why you always hear release the outcome. It's like, if I can feel the emotion enough, you don't have to feel it all day long, but if I can really get it so where my subconscious feels it and it becomes relative, it becomes comfortable, it becomes normal, then you'll see within usually less than 24 hours for me, I get these experiences that bring back that feeling, but having nothing to do with what I originally imagined, but I catch the emotion, right? A little side class there, if you will, embracing your emotion. It's very Abraham Hicks, but I like the new language of it, learned, of course, from Matt Kahn. See, when I find a teacher that works, I stick with them for a while. Not necessarily a devotee. I'm a devotee to the divine, right? He's a brother. We're all brothers and sisters, aren't we? So last card down, and then we'll do your overview. This one might run a little long because there's a lot going on here. Well, Gemini. Express love through gifts for the whole thing. Giving a small token to someone expresses your love to them. And that's what makes me think that this one might either be familial. For some of you where this is family, right? It's like you're going to have to get along, right? Even if you don't get along, there's still so much love to be had here. And yeah, nothing here says anything specifically, literally about sex or romance, all the cards on the table. So that really does throw this open to being a work, family, friend, but still twin flame contract, but one that feels like could work. I can't say definitely, but could flow in that place of soulmate. Maybe. Giving a small token to someone expresses your love to them. It does feel like that there is love in this relationship, but you just can't give each other what you want. So it might just come down to being loving and accepting. And, you know, loving what rises inside of you when you think the person's name. Like if you think of them, or you see somebody, or if you see them and there's instantly this in you go, all right, that's on me. I love you, sweetheart. I love you. We're not going to act on it, but let's go to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom and you sit silently. You can talk, use your inside voice. Talk to that inner child. Let's give you your overview. Ready? Magic clap, my Geminis. Magic clap! Bam! We've got the Divine Feminine Prostitute archetype. Shadow attribute places material consideration and security above self-empowerment. The Light attribute accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. And as we saw in the past, we've got that Scorpio card there, usually a card of decisions, because Scorpio is the goddess of the crossroads, a goddess of the underworld, certainly more hidden shadow stuff, but also connecting to agendas with money, sex, and power. But other people's resources in general. That is really and the Lover's card there too, but we'll get there. Where she is right now is in a place of a deception, the Four of Blades, and let us keep in mind Four of Blades in the majority of other decks I've read and worked with and just seen, that is a card of some contemplation, of rest, of allowing the mind to meditate, perhaps to discover the deception, because when the mind is still, the soul can often reveal truth. But then moving into that card of Aphrodite the Lover. See, that is the one that, yes, if this is romantic, sexual, that gives me some hope, a glimmer, an inkling here, particularly because the Divine Masculine has the Ace of Cups in the same position on his side, that there is a decision to give this another shot, or maybe it really can transform from one soul contract twin flame to the other soul contract soulmate. Don't know for sure, though. And by the way, this could be a brief timeline. In other words, this doesn't have to be years and years and years. It could be like this month, last month, this month, next month. It's going to be different for everybody. Unfortunately, that's general reads for you. Overall, the mantra, though, of welcoming surrender, right? There is no problem, only destiny being revealed. That if she can really decide, move towards that, right? And just be like, no matter what this is, I'm going to see it through. But to, again, release the outcome's not a problem, but I have to watch the movie as I play along while being in present and dreaming of the future, even if that dreaming of the future is her intuiting what's truly in her destiny, just not in this contract, right? When we dream, everything is possible. Jumping over to the Divine Masculine, we've got the Divine Masculine Witch archetype in the shadow. I don't want to say the Wicked Witch, but definitely the Shadow Witch is one who uses her power, his power in this case, his wisdom in ways that are harmful to self or others, or just in ways that he doesn't want anybody to know about. And I don't mean the personal secret stuff. I mean the stuff when you know that you're dabbling where you ought not be dabbling, or casting what you ought not be casting. Now take that again out of a witch, somebody who would identify as a witch, somebody who's using the wisdom they've already accrued over the life to do some shady shit. In the light, however, it is about service. It is about using the wisdom gained and garnered from life to assist others, and of course to improve situations, to heal self through power and wisdom. But also then isn't the missing element there between light and shadow love, because really the threefold flame of the heart is love, power, and wisdom. So I hate to say light witch, dark witch. I don't play that game. Witch to me isn't a spectrum so much of light and dark, good and evil, as it is levels of consciousness, right? So somebody new to the path may have a really high level of spiritual consciousness, but then where is the practical application and the integration? You see what I mean? So you got to walk it. It's not just about, visions and knowledge. It's about what gets anchored. And there's my diatribe on the witch, at least for this reading, right? Recent past, we've got the Three of Pentacles. So something stable and sure, and perhaps even profitable, worth investing in. A good, stable beginning, a stable foundation. With that Three of Cups. But then moving to the Seven, where there are options, right? Well, it could go this way, I could do this way, but this one you're going to have to do this. Or you could just walk away from this altogether. Now we know in the Eight of Cups, one of the options of the Seven of Cups is walk away, and that's the Eight of Cups, is walk away. But no, next we see the Ace of Cups, a renewal. Either a brand new contract, hopefully soulmate, right? Hopefully, who knows? But, why wouldn't a twin flame come as an Ace of Cups? It's still an opportunity to love, but it's an opportunity to love oneself, right? Again, the foundation of the contract is to teach each other how to love the self. The breath, highly, highly, highly highlighted here for the Divine Masculine, the Witch, with the card, the mantra invoking self-realization. Each breath confirms how awake I already am. And along with that, embrace your emotions. Don't push down your feelings or judge your emotions. So it does feel like the Divine Masculine kind of has his work cut out for him here, being in that Seven of Cups. A spiritual awakening and emotional embracing and perhaps purging, revelation, not just intuition, real heart chakra stuff going on here. And brought together, I think, perfectly by this Whisper of Love Oracle card for the contract itself. Express love through gifts. Giving a small token to someone expresses your love to them. And that's really what brings me back to these people. These two might be in each other's lives, whether they like it or not. I mean, could be a partnership splitting up that shares property or has kids, or something going on there, but there may always be love here regardless of the form as a twin flame. But there is also that feeling, I've only had it, I think, 3 other of these readings this time around, that possibility where the twin flame might be a soulmate hybrid, will convert at some point. Don't know for sure, but expressing love through gifts. Small tokens. Keep in mind, small tokens to someone expresses your love to them, particularly if you think in terms of prayer of blessings, things of that nature. So there you have it, my Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. I don't know if this one was particularly longer, but I do know this one was chocked full of info, as it would be for an air sign, particularly as it would be for a Mercury ruled Gemini, and I am a Virgo, so we have that going for us, though I have no planets in Gemini myself. So may the Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign be blessed in all of their twin flame contracts, that they may heal, that they may grow, that they may make the wisest decisions possible, empowering themselves and everyone else around them, healing the hearts, the minds, the souls of all of life in the process, because that's what we're all in this for the well-being of all. And so it is. It's a chunky-ass prayer, wasn't that? Thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Check the description box, and by all means, as ever, hail, farewell, and blessed be